She takes a plane every day, but she never fastens her seatbelt. Yet this habit actually ended up saving her life. As the girl was sleeping in her boyfriend's arms, a fighter jet suddenly roared past. Then it collided directly with the passenger plane. The fuselage was instantly torn open with a huge hole. The powerful airflow at high altitude immediately sucked the flight attendants and passengers out. But her boyfriend wasn't so lucky. The airflow instantly tore the plane into two halves and took her away as well. Then the girl followed the other half of the fuselage and began to fall rapidly. That's when she finally thought of the seatbelt and quickly fastened it on herself. The rest could only be left to fate. She just hoped the seatbelt could save her life. Soon the plane was only dozens of meters from the ground. Luckily, at that moment her falling speed was slowly decreasing. A few seconds later she slammed straight into the ground. Then she struggled to stand up and began desperately calling her boyfriend's name. But she found there was actually another survivor in the back row. She ran up excitedly, but the next second, the sight of the corpse almost made her faint. She collapsed helplessly to the ground and slowly slipped into unconsciousness. After a long time, a mosquito woke her from her coma. Then she heard the roar of a helicopter. It was a rescue team sent by the local government. The girl quickly tore a scarf from the nearby dead body and ran toward the sound of the rotors. Then the earlier helicopter, after dropping off the officer, decided to go back and search again. The pilot thought that person didn't look like they were waving hello, but more like they were calling for help. They also had families of their own, so they understood how the victims' families felt. Even if there was only the slightest hope, they couldn't give up. The girl's mother, after getting the news, immediately rushed to the airport, but the staff there told her it was a car accident, even though her daughter was on a plane. Could there be some hidden truth behind this crash? Why would the staff deliberately cover it up? Pain shot through her wound again. She took a cigarette from her pocket, hoping for a small smoke to ease her bad mood, but the cigarette was already damaged in the crash. The girl was furious. She never thought that now even having a smoke was a luxury. As she sat there unsure what to do, she happened to glance at a branch in her hand and fell into deep thought. The girl remembered this plane's destination was east, and at the time of the crash, but before she could be happy for long, she accidentally fell into a swamp. She began struggling desperately, but the more she struggled, the deeper she sank. When she didn't know what to do, she suddenly saw a small sapling in front of her, like grabbing a lifeline. She reached for it with all her strength. Luckily, the sapling was sturdy enough, and before it was pulled out by the roots, it helped her climb out of the swamp. But bad luck kept coming. As soon as she climbed up the slope, the slippery ground made her slide back down. The tiger suddenly appeared. She quickly hid to the side. Luckily, the beast didn't notice her. Then the girl found a lighter on the road. With it, she no longer had to go hungry. More importantly, she could finally have a smoke. She also used a can she found to regain some strength. Meanwhile, the officer finally found the person responsible for the crash. Normally, when the military has a flight mission, they inform civil aviation to avoid each other's routes. But this time they didn't. So when the pilot followed the original route, he accidentally collided with the passenger plane. Once this kind of mistake became public, it would cause huge negative impact for the military. She unexpectedly found a flare gun. She quickly loaded a round and fired a shot into the sky, but the rescue team wasn't nearby, so they couldn't see it. Just as she was about to fire the second shot, she realized this and put the round back. She decided to save it for when she saw the rescue team. Just then the temperature dropped suddenly. She was shivering from the cold. The girl gathered dry branches, hoping to make a fire for warmth, but the lighter had stopped working after being soaked in water too long. The man understood their feelings and introduced them to the officer. They refused to believe the fact in front of them. As long as they hadn't seen the body, there was still hope. The officer said the rescue team would do everything they could. After sending them away, he told the man the earlier rescue helicopter had seen a girl. She took it down and saw it was her boyfriend's. Inside was even a picture of herself. The more she saw, the sadder she became. All their memories had been so beautiful, but this crash shattered everything. She wasn't willing to accept it, so she put on her boyfriend's backpack and set out again. She thought she could go back with her boyfriend now, but when she turned around, she saw only a cold body. She broke down crying, refusing to believe the fact before her eyes. But soon she pulled herself together, found the earlier flare she had fired. Smelling it, he was sure she was nearby, and shouted loudly. The girl finally climbed up. Once up, she didn't waste a second. With trembling hands, she loaded the flare, and with her last hope, fired it into the sky. Everyone instantly noticed the light. After 3 days of hardship, she was finally rescued. At this point, everyone might think it's impossible to survive a plane crash. She would think of her true love, and often shed tears. They had once been so happy. If she had fastened her seatbelt back then, the ending might have been different.